Good afternoon. It is good afternoon. Welcome to Entrepreneur Life with me, Joel Campbell. I'm an entrepreneur, and off we go. It is Monday. It's the 31st July. It's nearly 1 p.m. I'm actually in the middle of 3 videos now. So this is the third video I started. I've got 2 more that I need to finish. I know exactly what I'm going to do with them. I just need to sit down and actually record it. Why is today different? Right, what's going on today? So basically, I started super late today. I didn't actually start work till 10 o'clock this morning, which is so late for me. It's crazy. For a variety of reasons, but I didn't actually sit down properly till 10 a.m. I went through a couple of bits, and this is really my first week, properly coming into my first week, not being on the day-to-day operational side. So last week, I announced that we'd taken on COO, that he was going to basically be taking over all the day-to-day operations across all of our businesses. That was going to allow me to step back, give me more time to do the things that I want to do, to build the partnerships, the relationships, the next businesses, the next funding of investments, all that kind of stuff, basically. And initially, and they'd been in the role for about 3 weeks before I announced it. So they've now been in the role basically for a month, exactly a month in fairness, calendar month today. And initially, I didn't think it would take that much work off me because majority of what I do in the day-to-day operations is in marketing, which I'm still doing. They're just recruiting somebody else, which is going quite well. I know they're moving that this week. So my expectations in the next, by the end of the month, really, we should have somebody in place or about to be in place, and I'll be beginning that handover process. And by the end of September, I'm out altogether. It's not the first time I've said that, I know, but this time we've taken a different approach to it, different journey, different strategy to it. So I'm really confident that's going to stick for sure. So initially I didn't think it would take a lot of work from me, but actually it seems to have done, which is great. But it meant last week I kind of had less coming through to me, which meant I had more time in my day. So I was able to apply some of that into the marketing, which was fine. But also I was able to start spending time doing other things. Now, rather than do my usual stuff, which is, right, I've got some time, I'm just going to throw myself head on into it, off I go. I didn't. I just took some time just to kind of just down gear a little bit, I guess. I did. I took my foot off the accelerator ever so slightly. I went down a couple of gears, and I just let myself last week just kind of cruise through the week. And I thought, do you know what? As I come into this week, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to just kind of cruise into this week. I'm not going to come into it, bullet a gate, all guns blazing, just as hard and fast as I could. I thought I'm just going to kind of cruise into this week. And I saw a lovely post this morning, which is all about how comfort or that area of comfort effectively is where places where dreams go to die. That comfort zone is where dreams go to die, and it is true to a degree in the sense of that. I was wandering around the garden this morning so before I started work. Well, as I sort of started work, I'd actually done a couple of bits. So I went out outside to take the bin out, and as I was taking the bin out, I thought, I'm just going to go check the pool a second to make sure the chlorine levels are okay and the heaters are okay and see what temperature is, so I might go for a swim later. So I went and did that. I thought, do you know what, I'm going to go pick up the dog mess because there's some dog mess all around our new patios. I want to get that sorted, so I went to do that. And as I was wandering around, I was kind of thinking to myself, I was going, do you know what, this is bizarre. It's kind of like 10:30 on a Monday morning. I'm at home. I've, done the bins. I've checked the pool. I'm picking up dog crap. And I was just like, wow, I don't really have to panic anymore about getting into the office at 8 in the morning or 7:30 in the morning, working a 10-hour day, 5 days a week, 6 days a week, 7 days a week sometimes, and really, putting all that effort in. I could probably just sort of sit back now and just kind of ease back like I did last week. And there was a moment where that really was quite warming. It was quite pleasing. It was like a little bit of a hug, I think. And then there was a moment of terror and fear and oh my God. And the fear and the terror was me kind of going, oh, shit, am I going to lose my drive? Am I going to lose that push? Am I going to lose that thing that I think really helps make me me, which is just that just desire to do more? And I thought, no, that's a mindset thing. It's fine. And funny enough, as I sat down, and Facebook must be in my head, because then I saw the post around how, that comfort zone is where your dreams go to die. And I thought, God, how true that is. I could literally just sit here now and be like, right, cool, I'm done. And that's it. But I'm so far from done. But that's now going to be a choice, which is going to be interesting from this next stage. Anyway, back to where I am today. I thought I'd just come into this week and I would just cruise into the week. I've got a number of things I want to do this week, but nothing astronomically difficult. One of the things, though, I am going to do today, and this is where I'm going to spend really now my afternoon, the next 3 hours before the only meeting I have in today. I've got one meeting, it's not till 4 o'clock. So I'm going to spend the next 4 hours, effectively 3 to 4 hours, sorting out my computer, because I have got so many files in my OneDrive that need to move on to SharePoint, where I've just not been doing it because I've been working through them. So now I'm going to go through, and I have got a lot of files in it. I don't quite know how full my OneDrive is. I'll just have a very quick look. It is not telling me how big it is, so that means it's quite big. It's trying to figure out the size of the folder. Put it this way, just in the folders that I have to upload, let's have a quick look and see if I can see it. Oh, it's not telling me. Oh, it's so annoying because they're not all downloaded. That sounds really weird because they're in my OneDrive, but I need to move them to SharePoint. So I'm going to go do that. But it is gigabytes of stuff because I know that there's loads of media folders in there. I've got entire programs and stuff. So it doesn't matter. Anyway, I'm going to just spend the next, like I say, few hours just doing that and basically just clearing the desk, clearing my computer, so it's just a bit cleaner, a bit fresher. As I get towards the end of this week, I should then be able to start finding that rhythm and that groove of where I want to go next week. And as I come into next week, that's when I'm going to start looking at that trajectories push. And there's still a few things going on. I wouldn't say there's loads going on the back burner. We've got stuff happening with Shrewsbury, with the development there, how that's moving, looking at different aspects, working with different partners in that world. Still waiting to hear about Shepton to see whether that's going to be an acquisition we're going to do or not. If it is, great. We've got our plans ready. We've got some of the finance ready. We can just start moving. If it's not, then that's a shame. It is a shame. It will then mean that we have some funding that we can then put into something else, and we'll have to then figure out what that something else is going to be. There's a couple of other bits ticking away as well in the other businesses I want to get started on, and a couple of other ideas and things I want to get moving, and a couple of other investments I want to start looking at and get moving. So those are kind of some of the bits, but it's not horrendous at the moment. It's not like there's 50,000 things going on at once. There might be, but I'm only having to deal with about 5 of those. And that has been a big part of this journey to bring in a COO, because the 50,000 things that are currently happening, I only have to deal with 5 of. And that's a really good place to be, because it allows me to think and allows us to strategize where we're going to go as a bigger organization to that big vision, that big goal of global. So global brand. And I don't quite know exactly what all the bits and pieces are. I think that's probably where I'm going to leave this now. And maybe I'm going to come back and talk a little bit about that. I've done a lot of that in a video 2 videos ago, which I haven't actually finished yet, but I'm going to go talk about that in a second. And I've got another video which I was doing, which is actually about where I kind of massively fucked up. So if you've watched the previous 2 videos, you'll have seen exactly where I want to go. You'll have seen how I fucked things up in the past and very, very recently. And then obviously we're rolling into this one. So if you haven't watched them, go back and check it out. I'm going to be back shortly. I'm going to talk about how the rest of my day went and just kind of where my head's at and what I feel is my next best step, whilst I wait to find out about what are some of the things that we've got, some of the pans we have in the fire, and see also where we go from there. So in a bit. I'm back. It has been, I finished the last bit. It was the 31st of July. Today is the 16th of August. So 2 weeks basically have passed. And I'm coming back to finish this video. This video is all about how I'm settling into my new role. It has been an interesting 2 weeks. And I think probably over the last 2 days, it has been more interesting than the previous 14 before it. So I'm going to go into that in a second. I've done something a little bit crazy this morning as well. I've decided to wear a black top, grey shorts, and blue shoes. So I'm not quite sure what I was thinking this morning when I got dressed. I certainly wasn't thinking of fashion parades or anything along those lines. But you know what? That's kind of just me. I've never really been overly bothered about what I'm wearing. I try and dress smart-ish.
I quite like dressing smart-ish, and then on occasion you'll just see me wearing a super baggy pair of jeans and a hoodie, especially in England with this weather, although it's sunny today. So yeah, I've gone a little bit off-piste today, like I say, black top, grey shorts, blue shoes. 2 weeks of being in a different role, there's been elements that have been amazing. So I have absolutely loved not being the go-to person for the day-to-day running of the businesses. That has freed up a good chunk of my time, more time than I actually thought it would do, which I'm really, really pleased about. So in that aspect, that's been great. I'm still doing the marketing. We're still recruiting somebody for marketing. It's a difficult role to fill. Although we're having some really good candidates come through now. I know they've had some good interviews. I know they're having really good discussions on it. So I'm expecting, realistically, I think by towards the end of August, we'll probably have somebody selected. And I think that, we're talking a 4 to 6 week journey from starting. My plan very much is still handover through October, November. So by the time I head off to New Zealand at the end of November, we're pretty much kind of there, handed over marketing and somebody else who really knows what they're doing, taking on. If you're watching this video and you're in marketing and you want a job, then we have got a job going, at least a job, if not more. Get in contact, do let us know. We'd love to hear from you, and we'd love to have somebody come and join and take over our marketing team. And I think it's a super exciting, fun role. So that's kind of been in there, and obviously I've been running the marketing since over the last couple of weeks, especially around the holiday campaigns and Christmas, which we're now obviously getting into flow and such like that. In addition to that, or aside from that, I'm working on 6 projects. I would like to be working on 7. 7 is my number of projects that I would like to be working on at any one stage. But at the moment, I'm working on 6. I guess you could argue my 7th project is technically still the marketing side of things. So the reason I can work on 7 projects is because they all take attention, but they don't all demand attention in the sense of it's not like we need you now, which is very much an operational running a business kind of attention that's required. They are very much more strategic partnership development opportunities. So for example, a couple of the opportunities I'm looking at is there's a hotel chain that is for sale that we're looking at purchasing. It's a small hotel chain of I think 4 hotels. So we're having a look at that one. I don't think I've signed an NDA yet. No, I haven't signed an NDA. So there's four hotels effectively being sold as a going concern. So they're struggling, and we're having a look at that. So that's a process that we go through, looking at books, looking at the hotels themselves, looking at the P&Ls, the balance sheets, figuring out what we would do, where it's gone wrong, how we would change that, how we would grow it, how we'd move it forwards, how we'd do the whole process, and of course how we'd finance it. So that's one project I'm looking at. It's not demanding loads of time, but I do get to spend time on it. It's super exciting. There's another one that I'm looking at, which is actually building a hotel. And I spoke to some developers yesterday. I spoke to some builders and construction companies yesterday, just to kind of tease out what that might look like. What is the square meterage cost of building a hotel? I discovered this. So if you, on average, give or take, you're talking about 1.6 to 1.8, so you're talking 1,600 to 1,800 per square meter for kind of a basic bog standard hotel build. You could be looking as much as 4,800 per square meter for a much more high-end hotel. So I've been working through things like that. That's been interesting, a nice learning curve, and seeing whether that's something we'd want to do. And obviously the financing of the land is one thing, but actually the financing of building a hotel, something completely different. So that's kind of put me into a little bit of a hotel world. There's another company that's gone into administration that I'm really, really keen to have a look at to see what's going on there. So that's 3. I've got another discussion I'm having with somebody else that I can't talk about, but it's about investing into another business, potentially supporting another businesses. So that's 4. We're working on number 5. What is number 5? I need to try and remember the next 2. Number 5 is... I need to remember that because number 6 is I know what number 6 is. What's number 5? What's number 5? What's number 5? I forgot what number 5 is. It's written down. I'd have to go and have a look at it. This is why I need a PA. If you're looking for a PA job, no, I'm just joking. Number 6 is the investment fund. So I am putting together an investment fund for Cove Group to basically go out and invest into other businesses. So that is literally what it says on the tin. It's going to be a tiny, tiny investment fund. And really, that's kind of what I'm playing with at the moment, is how much we can put into that investment fund. I'm trying to get it to 6 figures. Because I feel that's where it needs to be, obviously. But I'm actually going with, I'm okay with having a small investment fund, and I remember what number 5 is. I'm okay with having a small investment fund and building it. There's nothing wrong with being the smallest player at the party. That's absolutely fine. So, I'm absolutely fine with that. Because we'll build and we'll grow. So that's all good. So I'm looking at the investment fund. Number 5 is 50mm Media. So that is another one of our companies. I would say it's a side hustle / hobby business that I set up during lockdown. I had lots of time. I think I've spoken about it before. So I set it up in very much to produce and manage podcasts and vodcasts and stuff like that. It produces this podcast for a better explanation, and a number of others, most of which I'm involved in. In fact, all of which I'm involved in. So that very much is a startup, and I've just been working with Paul on that. In fact, I think the next episode that comes out after this one is a meeting that Paul and I had all about 50mm Media and one of our new shows, Life Behind Bars, and about how we're going to bring it together, how we're going to launch it, how we're going to release it. Because the show's all filmed and edited and ready to go. So that is all about how we're actually going to do the release. And you can just see, through the video, I ain't got a fucking clue what I'm talking about. I literally have no idea what I'm talking about. But I'm super confident that the company's going to be nice and successful. And I don't care that I don't know what I'm talking about, because I know I'll learn as I go. And that's what I really like doing. So that's the 6 things that I'm kind of working on at the moment. There is, like I say, I would like there to be a 7th. The 7th currently is still running marketing. So if you can come and take marketing off me, not only will you be taking on a really good job with a decent salary and really good benefits and working for a company that's up and coming and growing, and you're going to have some brilliant challenges thrown at you, and you're going to have an amazing time working with us, then that would be great. But also you'll have my absolute respect, admiration, and thanks, because you'll be taking away from me a department that I now have very much a love-hate relationship with. I love marketing. I think it's the one area of business that everybody should be really plowing stuff into. I think it's the one area of business that every business owner should really understand, because it's just so important across the board. But I'm learning to hate it because I don't want to do it at the level that I currently do it at, because I'm not doing a particularly good job, and I don't like not doing a good job. So that is on me. But I don't want to spend any more time learning to do it, because it's not what I want to do in my life. So it's a bit of a love-hate relationship at the moment, but I'm getting through it. And that, predominantly, guys, is where it's been for the last couple of weeks. So I'm keeping super busy. I'm still keeping, obviously, connected. I had a discussion with the COO this morning about another purchase that we're doing, and how we were going to go about that. I think that there's lots and lots to happen going forwards. There's lots to go wrong still, but there's lots to go right. And that's kind of it. So super positive. I think I will do another video to update this in a couple of weeks to see. And we might do just a little kind of follow-up series of how's it going as, COO, or how's it going now you're out of operating business. Well, Paul, think of a title, dude. Let's think of like a little mini series within the series of Entrepreneur Life, just maybe every 2 weeks, every 2 or 3 weeks, just catching up and back in. Let's just drop in a singular episode just about how's it going as COO. No, I'm not COO. As CEO, what am I working on? What's next? How's it all looking? I think that'd be really nice just to sort of keep flowing as best as we can, maybe just dropping that in. And you can see, guys, if you're listening to this, if you're watching it, is just no structure or organization to it whatsoever. And obviously, as I think of stuff, I'm throwing them down there for Paul to make notes of so we can then do the next episodes. I have absolutely loved having Paul working directly with me, purely kind of on what we're doing podcast-wise and on 50mm Media and all that functioning. I think that's been really good fun, and I'm looking forward to working more with him. So that's all good. I'm going to leave it there. This has been Entrepreneur Life with me, Joel Campbell, and I am an entrepreneur.